I designed this home office space with the sole purpose of showing you some tips and tricks that are worth to know when you're gonna plan to design your home office space. If this is somehow interesting to you, I would love to invite you on a journey with me. Have you ever worked from home, but something just feels off? You're not alone. Since the world flipped upside down in 2020, millions of people were forced to work remotely from home. And while that brought some freedom and flexibility, it also created one major challenge, which is where and how do we actually work right now? Some of you are lucky enough to have a spare room, but turning that blank space into a place that fuels focus, creativity, and maybe a little joy, that's not so easy. So for my very first YouTube project, I decided to tackle this challenge. Imagine a 4x4 room with two south-facing windows. Sounds simple, right? But here is the twist. I wanted it to be more than just a home office. I wanted it to feel like a place where you would like to spend time in. Inspired by a friend who's obsessed with vinyl, I decided to add a corner for deep listening. Why? Because breaks matter, and a good workspace should also let you breathe. In this video, I will walk you through the whole vision, how I'll turn this empty room into a home office space. If you ever wanted to transform your spare room into something more, into a space that works for you, not against you, then stick around because this might spark your own home office revolution. First, you need to learn what space you're gonna be working on. How big of a room or part of the room do you have to adapt? In order to know that, you have to measure your space. My space is fictional and it's gonna be 4x4 meters. This is crucial because you don't want to end up buying furniture that is too big for your space. Make sure that you're gonna mark every edge, every corner, include windows, if there are any, doors, and in which way they are opening, any fixed objects like radiators, air conditioners, fireplaces, pipes, and etc. So we need to create a floor plan. And what we're gonna need is some measurement tape, that we can take dimensions with, or device like that, which is a laser meter. Yeah, to create a floor plan you need obviously these two items, piece of paper. In my case it's like a graphic pad, but you can use any other paper, like paper from your printer. You need some markers, pencils, whatever you're gonna be using to draw lines, and some ruler, or in my case it's gonna be scale. So that's all you need to create a floor plan. Where do we begin? First you need to take the dimensions. Obviously your room is, or a space that you're gonna be designing, is bigger than a piece of paper, so we need to use a scale. Typical scale for residential projects is 1:50. That's the typical scale. For interiors. For architectural projects like the whole buildings, the scale is 1:100. For the whole site, you're gonna use scale of 1:200 or 1:500. And for the major landscapes, it's gonna be 1:1250. But in my case, I'm not gonna use it in scale of 150. I'm gonna use a scale of 120 as I want it to be more graphical. So once we've done that, we can start drafting the floor plan. And since my room is fictional, I've got all the dimensions in my head. You, on the other hand, will have to take these measurements earlier. So let's start drafting. So that's how the end result for a floor plan looks for me. So we've got all the dimensions that are needed to start designing a room, and I'm gonna see you in the next chapter. Once you have a clear blueprint of your room, it's time to consider what you want from your space and how you want to use it. If you haven't guessed from the title of this video, today I'm gonna be designing a home office. However, it doesn't matter because these steps apply to any other design. So in my case, I'm designing a home office with an additional space for users' hobby, which is listening to vinyl music. Now I need to write down how the user will use the space. Of course, your primary using of this space will be for work, but what else? An office usually comes with a lot of folders, papers, and other belongings that have to be stored. So, you need a place to store them. Lastly, I had to think about the place where users can enjoy their hobbies. Once I clarified how the space will be used, it is now the time to mark these zones on a floor plan that I've created in the first step. So there's our floor plan, and we can start designing. So first what we need to know is how we're gonna use the space. Because up to this point you can design here anything. It can be kitchen, it can be bathroom, it can be living room, whatever you want. But we've got a specific design in mind, which is home office in a spare room. So in order to do that, we have to allocate some space for desk and chair. So it's gonna be for working. Other thing that you might find useful in the office is storage. Obviously, home office or any office will come with plenty of folders, documents, and that objects needs to be stored. So we need storage. And in the beginning of the video, I mentioned that I've been inspired by a friend of mine who's really into vinyl music. So I decided that I'm gonna design a space where you can listen to music and relax. Last thing that we need to take for the consideration is hobby / relax. Once we have the clear vision what we want to design, it's time to mark these zones on this floor plan, and I'm gonna use the colorful markers. I've got some here. You don't have to do that. I'm doing that so I can visually represent zones. First, let's start from the most important thing, which is working. Because obviously that's home office, so we need to give a priority to that. And for me, I like to place the desk in the command position, and that command position is gonna be somewhere here. Right. It doesn't have to be the exact dimensions of the desk and chair or other furniture, as it's just marking the zones, right? So my zone is gonna be somewhere around here. That's the main zone for me. So you enter the room. Anybody who's working here can see you when you enter in the room. You've got a wall behind you, so you won't be anxious that somebody might looking over your shoulder. You've got a view from the windows, so you see what's going outside. For me, that's the perfect spot for a desk and a chair to work in a home office. Now let's move to the other important feature, which is storage. You want to have as much storage as possible, at least in my opinion. So where we can put that storage? Where we can put a furniture here against the wall. That's gonna have two features, in my opinion. First of all, that's 4 meters long wall, so that's already a plenty of storage. If you're gonna do it from the floor to ceiling, that's really a lot of storage. And the second thing, if you would like to take a video calls or whatever, this furniture will provide you a nice backdrop, as you can decorate that with the objects that may provide a more professional look. For example, books or medals or anything that you want. But that's the storage. Let's say that's the storage for the home office tasks. But we've got also a hobby. Vinyls are quite big, and it would be good to have dedicated storage for vinyls only. I decided I'm gonna put some kind of bookcase or or smaller cabinet here just for the vinyls, right? So that would be a storage for a vinyls, and that should work. So lastly, hobby relax zone. I'm gonna use a purple one now. Since I've got a lovely space here, I think I'm gonna use it. So I would use that space. It really doesn't matter how I'm gonna mark this space, as it's just a visual representation. Right, so I've marked all the zones. Now it's time to move to the other task, which is designing what kind of furniture I'm gonna use. That's why I said in the first step that taking measurements properly is really important. Now you will know exactly what pieces of furniture will or will not fit into your room. And like you see, we've got zones marked. I've got some bookcases, wardrobes, desk cabinets, chairs, armchairs, even daybeds. So common position. First, we're gonna start with the desk. I think that for the home office, a desk that has the adjustable height is gonna be perfect, and armchair that's gonna be comfortable is gonna be also really good for long hours in the office. By using models, I'm gonna see if what I think might look like okay, it's gonna be looking okay. This is absolutely not necessary. It's just for me. Right, so we're gonna have something like that. If you want to design a space just for relax, you can maybe think about the day bed for long hours spent in the office, and maybe you're gonna have some time to rest or take a break from work. A day bed might be a really good idea. Then you wouldn't have that storage for vinyls here. Maybe you would put the day bed here. Maybe it's not the best position, but you have to work with what you've got. Maybe you would put it like that and move the desk and chair here, and so you're gonna have more space around these two furnitures. But I'm not gonna use day bed. I'm gonna use this cabinet to put it as a storage for vinyls. But as you can see, we could put a bigger storage here and it wouldn't look that bad. Although it might block the view from the doors. So smaller, shorter cabinet might be better. And lastly, what I would like to see on this floor plan is how the armchair with the maybe ottoman fitting, maybe not, maybe it's gonna be sofa. So I've got a armchair like that, and I think maybe an ottoman. As you can see, there's not much space here, so maybe I'm gonna put it a bit over here. So there's already, like you see, that square is half of a meter. That's the grid for in scale of 120. So each square is half of a meter. So now I can tell that 50, nearly 80 centimeters here is enough for anyone to walk around this desk. And here's also around 70 to 80 centimeters of space. So you should be able to freely move around this desk, which is really important, as you don't want to be clustered in it. But you know what, I think that this chair might be a bit uncomfortable for relaxation. Maybe something like that, but without the yeah, that's not gonna fit. As you can tell, it's going over the window, and we've got a radiator here as well. So maybe a chair like that, armchair. Yeah, I think this should work. So yeah, so right now I know how I want to put all the pieces of furniture in this room. Usually the next step would be marking the electric, but I'm not gonna do it in this video as it's gonna take too long. And now, once we did that, it's time to pick materials and colors. Up to this point, everything might feel technical, so it's now the time to get creative. Open up a Pinterest, grab a book about interior design, search through magazines, or do anything else that will inspire you to design your space. For example, I like to wander through shopping centers and look how stores are designed, or go to a different area of the city to look for a unique scenery or material combination. Pick pieces of furniture that you like and think that might fit your room and the style you want to achieve. Now let's say you found what you want and what you don't. Now you will have to confront your choices with the space you are working on, with your budget, and check if pieces of furniture that you chose align with it. Now I'm gonna talk about materials and colors, starting with colors. Colors strongly influence mood, focus, and productivity in any room. In a home office, you want a balance between stimulation and calmness. Neutral colors like white, beige, gray, and taupe provide a clean backdrop and reduce distraction. Light neutrals make a small office feel bigger, while darker neutrals add coziness. Shades of blue are known to enhance focus, mental clarity, and calmness. Lighter blues promote serenity, while navy tones convey authority and professionalism. Green colors, on the other hand, are associated with balance, renewal, and reduced eye strain. These are excellent if you're spending long hours at the desk. Yellows will boost your optimism and creativity, while reds and oranges will energize you. But be careful, too much can feel overwhelming. Earth tones like warm browns, terracotta, or olives are grounding and cozy and can offset coldness of technology-heavy spaces. In my case, I used Pantone Color of the Year 2025 Mocha Mousse to achieve cozy and classy style. Now it's time for materials. Your office surfaces and finishes must balance wearability with aesthetic comfort. There is no one good answer to what materials to choose. It all depends how you're gonna plan to use your space. For example, hardwood on the floors will be durable, but if you need to reduce noise, think about carpets. Maybe you want tiles, but you feel that the room will feel cold. In this case, think about area rugs. They will add softness and coziness without being a permanent commitment. Matte paint on the walls will hide imperfections, but is less washable, while eggshell and satin finishes are more durable and easier to clean. As you can see, there is no right or wrong. It's only what you need from your space. Would you like to know more about materials and colors? Let me know in the comments. Lastly, add accessories. In my case, it's a whiteboard on a wall to write important notes, reference books on the shelves, a turntable with the speakers, and other items that makes this space feel uniquely yours. As you can see, designing a space is not easy, but hopefully this video will help you better understand how to approach this design challenge. If you liked this video, hit subscribe and like buttons to help me reach more people interested in design. See you next time.